نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا عرضنا الأمانة على السماوات والأرض والجبال فأبين أن يحملنها وأشفقن منها وحملها الإنسان إنه كان ظلوما جهولا. ليعذب الله المنافقين والمنافقات والمشركين والمشركات ويتوب الله على المؤمنين والمؤمنات وكان الله غفورا رحيما. Respectful honorable friends, the verses that have been recited are the closing verses of Surah Ahzaab. And in these verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us of a great responsibility that lies upon insan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in this verse that إِنَّا أَرَضْنَا الْأَمَانَةَ عَلَى السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَالْجِبَالِ فَأَبَيْنَ أَن يَحْمِلْنَهَا وَأَشْفَقْنَ مِنْهَا وَحَمَلَهَا الْإِنسَانُ. That indeed we offered the trust, amanat, the trust, عَلَى السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ, to the heavens and the earth, وَالْجِبَالِ, and the mountains. فَأَبَيْنَ, but they refuse أَن يَحْمِلْنَهَا, to bear it. وَأَشْفَقْنَ مِنْهَا, and cringed at it. وَحَمَلَهَا الْإِنسَانُ, man bore it, meaning the amanat. As إِنَّهُ كَانَ ظَلُومًا جَهُولًا, he is generally unjust and ignorant. He is unjust and he is jahula, ignorant. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions here that Allah ta'ala had offered trust upon the heavens and the earth. What is amanat here that Allah ta'ala mentions? In the earth amanat, that we offered the trust. Various Sahaba and Mufassirin have different opinion with regards to what is meant by amanat here. One opinion of amanat is the fara'is. The other opinion of amanat is that it refers to iman. Another opinion with regards to amanat is the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another opinion of amanat is farz salah, fasting, and the farz ghusl. Another opinion with regards to amanat has been taken as for a woman to protect her honor and her chastity. That is what amanat is. And the other meaning of amanat is, as we know, as that of a trust itself. In all these opinions, there is no contradiction here at all, as all of them combined is what amanat is here. Because if we take iman, then everything is included in iman anyway. When we take obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then whether it's the farz salah, fasting, ghusl of janabat, or whether it is the chastity of a woman, whatever obedience you take, it will all be included in it. So it means the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now Allah ta'ala says that this obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in one opinion, is just ahkam, meaning the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had offered this to the heavens and the earth. Which means what? That before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even offered this to insan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put this opportunity to the heavens and the earth and the mountains. And what Allah ta'ala said, Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala mentions, that Allah ta'ala said to them that, look, if you desire to accept then there are certain commands of mine. And if you carry out these commands of mine, you'll be rewarded for it. And if you disobey these commands, then you'll be punished. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly outlined and mentioned that there is reward for it and there is also punishment. When this was presented to the heavens and the earth and the mountains, they immediately refused to bear this responsibility. And the reason why they refused was not out of disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but because they feared the consequences. That fine, if we carry out this obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we will get reward for it, which is good. But the fact that if we disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then we will be punished, that they could not bear. So out of fear of the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they declined. Now, here with regards to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala presenting this amanah to them, was it voluntary or was it compulsory? So the fact that they declined and they were not punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala itself indicates that it was not something that was compulsory, it was voluntary upon them. And the reason why it's voluntary upon them, because the compulsory obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is already in the function that the heavens and the earth and the mountains carry out. This is the responsibility that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put upon them. And the heavens and the earth, they carry out this obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala precisely. As the Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentions in the hadith as well, that the sun will not rise without the permission from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And again it will not set. And when it does set again for the following day, it asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for permission before it can rise. This is obedience that they carry out. So that is the compulsory obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And here this was something which was voluntary upon them. Now then the question arises that how did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala present these two to the heavens and the earth? How did they understand and perceive these things? Because we do not see any intellect or life in these. But as we have previously done in the Qur'an, in the tafsir of the Qur'an, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed certain element of life and aqal, understanding in each and every single creation of His. Although we may not understand what level of intellect Allah ta'ala has given, but there is a level of intellect that Allah ta'ala has given all His creation. And had these creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the heavens, the earth and the mountains, had they accepted this amanat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah ta'ala would have given them the aqal that He has given insan. Because we wonder then if this was the case, then how would they carry out these commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If they had, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have then presented, and Allah Ta'ala would have given them the intellect to be able to understand this amanat. But they declined it and they refused it, and again it was why? Because the mere thought of the consequences of neglecting the duty, that is what created fear in them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kept their intellect limited to just the role that they play. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَحَمَلَهَا الْإِنسَانِ. But the insan bore, man bore it. Meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then presented this amanat to Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu salam. When it was presented to Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu salam, then he asked Allah ta'ala as well that, and Allah ta'ala mentioned that there was reward. Then he asked Allah Ta'ala, what if there is neglect in it? Then Allah Ta'ala says in that, then there is the punishment of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So this was outlined by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, clearly outlined by Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. But Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu salam, on that hope and the desire for the reward of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and having that hope in him that he will carry out the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu salam accepted it. And one of the reasons why Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu salam accepted it, because insan after all was made as a deputy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on earth. That is the role that Allah ta'ala had granted insan. وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. And that Khalifa is the insan after all. So Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu salam accepted this amanah. And because he accepted this amanah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave insan that aql to be able to understand the responsibility. And along with that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then made insan ashraful makhluqat, the most noble of his and most intelligent of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the reason why insan is insan, and Allah ta'ala has granted insan the aql, compare the aql of insan, of humans, to that of non-humans. There is such a vast difference, isn't it? And the level of aql Allah ta'ala has given insan. Whereas all the other animals and all the other creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because their role is limited. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them that amount of aql. And we are fortunate, alhamdulillah, that Allah ta'ala has given them that amount of aql. Otherwise, you'll hear next that the cows are going to strike as well. And you won't get any milk. You'll hear all other animals are going to strike as well. And just imagine what, as it is, food price is high, supply is short, and what difficulties we are going through. Now just imagine, and in those countries where people rely on animals for transportation, they would go on strike, isn't it? So if they go on strike, then those will be suffering with transportation. So just imagine if the remaining makhluqat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what if the heavens, the earth, the sun and the moon, say we're going for a strike. New Year's Eve we're going to go on strike deliberately. So people can't party because they won't know whether it's day or night, because neither the sun is there nor the moon is out. If these makhluk of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had Allah given them that amount of aql, that they would start thinking for themselves, then who knows where things would be. Imagine that the sun itself that would think as well to itself, look, should I rise or not rise now, or what time, or let me delay a little or do something. Start thinking about matters. Then just imagine where we would be. So all the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah ta'ala has limited their aql to the extent of what their purpose and role is. And because of that, their role is played perfectly without any issues whatsoever. It is just insan, because insan is zalum and jahula. Just insan. But now because insan had accepted this amanah, this role, for that reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave insan the intellect that insan has been given, in order to be able to carry out his ahkam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as we know, there is no limit to the aql that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given insan. Yes, it does come to its limit as well when it comes to the boundary beyond which of that is that of wahi. But insan sat here on earth is seeing what's going on in Mars. That's the aql Allah Ta'ala has given insan to be able to make such scientific progress. This is aql Allah Ta'ala has given insan. And the reason why Allah Ta'ala has given insan so much aql is because of inna aradal amana. When we have given insan such a great amana, so it should not be that on the day of Qiyamah insan says, Allah, you mentioned so many commands and so many obligations were placed upon us, but we could not understand them. We couldn't work out how we're supposed to carry them out. You couldn't work it out, you could not really understand it. And there was too much confusion in it. So there could be so many such excuses that insan and man could have made them. But no, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave insan such aql that excuse does not exist at all. That is the amount of aql Allah ta'ala has given insan. Now when it comes to, and on that basis insan is ashraful makhluqat, so Allah ta'ala has created insan for this purpose of what? inna aradha al-amanata, to accept this amanat. Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu salam accepted it on behalf of the ummah. Or it was a case of man insan themselves accepted it. When did this take place? The Mufassirin of the opinion that this took place prior to the Ahd al-Asr. That the Ahd al-Asr had taken place where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala summoned all insan that Alastu bi rabbikum, am I not your Rabb? That happened after this amanat was placed. After man had accepted this amanat, Allah Ta'ala then reminded insan with regard to that amanat, hence asking, thus wherein this covenant took place at Alastu bi rabbikum, and all of mankind said, Qalu bala, of course we accept that Allah Ta'ala is our Rabb, we have already accepted this. So Allah Ta'ala says, look, we presented this to the heavens and the earth and the mountains, but because of their fear, they declined and they refused. But وَحَمَلَهَا الْإِنسَانِ, insan after all bore it. But Allah Ta'ala says, إِنَّهُ كَانَ ظَلُومًا جَهُولًا, man is extremely unjust and man is ignorant. Man is such that he is unjust and ignorant. So when insan took this amanat, then why is Allah Ta'ala saying that he is ظَلُومًا جَهُولًا? The reason being is, and here where Allah Ta'ala says that man is extremely unjust and ignorant, this does not refer to people, every single individual. Because Allah Ta'ala says, وَحَمَلَ الْإِنسَانِ, in insan is everyone. But here Allah Ta'ala is not mentioning meaning, Allah Ta'ala means in general, this is the position of insan. Because Sayyidina Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, after all, was a Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he was ma'soom. So he fully carried out the amanat, the trust that was put upon him. Otherwise he wouldn't be ma'soom, he wouldn't be free from sin had he not done so. So he had done so. And not only that, the other Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam and so many other righteous individuals have come and gone as well, who have lived a life wherein they have undertaken this amanat as should have been. So where Allah Ta'ala says, إِنَّهُ كَانَ ظَلُومًا جَهُولًا, Allah Ta'ala mentions that in general, this is how man is. That insan accepted this trust put upon him, but then when it came to carrying it out, he did not carry it out correctly. He was zaluman, he was extremely unjust, meaning in fulfilling this trust. And not only that, but he was jahula, he was ignorant. Ignorant to what? About the consequences of this. Meaning that the heavens and the earth and the mountains, they already looked at the consequences, and fearing the consequences, they declined. They know the consequences are such, if you do not carry it out, and there is going to be punishment. But insan didn't. Insan just looked at the fact that, okay, we'll be rewarded for it, so that's fine, and accepted it without thinking of the consequences. And this is how insan is, and this is how insan lives here in this world as well. That when we are faced with the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what do? We carry it out without thinking of the consequences. If we all were to think of the consequences of the wrongs that we do, the disobedience, then nobody would sin, nobody would disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But because we don't, we just see the apparent enjoyment and the pleasure that is in front of us, we go ahead with it without thinking of the consequences itself. So this shows this is how insan is. He's zalum and jahula. He's unjust, and at the same time he's jahula, he's ignorant. So here it is in the general form, that this is how insan is, referring to all those who, after bringing iman, or those who have not brought iman, because iman is part of amanat. So all of those who have not carried out the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are the ones who Allah ta'ala is saying, إِنَّهُ كَانَ ظَلُومًا جَهُولًا. And those who have carried out the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are exempt from إِنَّهُ كَانَ ظَلُومًا جَهُولًا. This is with regards to amanat in the general form. And then we have amanat which we relate to as being trust. Because the word amanat itself is trust. But a lot of things comes in trust or is given in trust. So just where iman is as well. So that is also amanat. The obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they've been given to us as an amanat. We should be upholding them. And in our deen and shariat, there is great stress given upon amanat. The Sahaba Kiram radiallahu ta'ala mentioned that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, very rarely would it be that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would give a khutbah and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would not make mention of that of amanat. Meaning, almost in every khutbah of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would stress with regard to amanat. La imana liman la amanata lahu. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentions that there is no iman in that person who has no trust. That person who doesn't bear trust, there is no amanat in him at all. And Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and in the Qur'an as well, various places in the Qur'an as well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has stressed greatly upon amanat, which is something that we should have within us, because the losing of amanat is from the signs of Qiyamah. As Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentions as well, that from the signs of amanat is إِذَا ضُيِّيَتِ الْأَمَانَةِ فَانْتَظِرِ السَّاعَةِ. That when amanat is wasted, then wait for the hour. When the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala asked Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, كيف ضُيِّيَتِ الْأَمَانَةِ, how can amanat be wasted? Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam mentioned إِذَا وُسِّدَ الْأَمْرُ إِلَى غَيْرِ أَهْلِهِ, that when leadership, position, honor is given to those who are non-worthy of it. That is one aspect of destroying amanat and trust. That is how, so if you give a position of responsibility to somebody who is not worthy of it, then they are not going to be responsible in that role. And we look at political leaders throughout the world for that matter, and not only in other parts of the world, but even in the Western world. You have so many cases of ministers doing all sorts of things, and people in power, in position, who have great responsibility over people, and what do? They're not responsible in it. And if you come down a little, just look at normal organizations as well. Within that organization, you have people who are given various posts in that, positions in that organization, and their duty is what? That they should be Hafizun Ameen, that they should be those who are trustworthy in that position that they have been given in that organization. But no, they are not there for that, they are there for filling their own pockets, for their own personal gain. And when that is the case, they are not going to fulfill that responsibility. And Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions that when that is the case, that those who are not worthy of a role are given a role, then this is how amanat will be destroyed. And when amanat is destroyed, then fantazir the next aspect, the hour, the Qiyamah will come very soon. And Sayyidina Huzaifa bin Yaman radiallahu ta'ala mentioned that Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam mentioned to us two hadiths and Nabi mentioned. One, he says, I have seen, the other I am still waiting to see. And he says the first Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that amanat was revealed in the heart of a believer. It was revealed in the heart of a believer, meaning that every believer had amanat. So amanat was there. But he did not fully understand what was the command, what is amanat. So they learned what amanat is and understood amanat from the Qur'an, and then they learned amanat further from the hadith of Nabi Kareem, from the sunnah of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam. Meaning that amanat was something that Allah, and then it was developed. That what is the meaning of amanat? What is amanat? What is the position of amanat? So by means of the Quran and by means of the Sunnah of Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala sallam, this was something that became established in mankind. And then Nabi Kareem mentioned, but then amanat will be taken out from the hearts of man. It will be taken out from the hearts of man. And Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions and gives an example of how. He says that that person who a piece of coal, and that too a coal that is a hot piece of coal, that falls on his foot and rolls off his foot. The effects of that is that it will create a boil. When a person gets burnt and that, then you'll have a boil. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave the example that the boil, which is something which will be protruding, and it will look big, but what's the inside? There's nothing inside. If this water, there's nothing inside it, but it looks that there is something there, it's so large, they're protruding, but when you look at it, there's nothing there at all. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that amanat will also be destroyed in the same manner. That it will seem that you will think the people have amanat, but in reality they do not have any amanat at all. And Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam will say, it says then that, and people will then do he says that that a time will then come that you people will become involved in buying and selling, but there will be no amanat within them. And people will say, do you not know so and so from so and so tribe? And people will say that he is very intelligent, he's very wise, he's very brave, meaning that they'll praise him, that he's a very good person. But Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentions, but the reality is that he won't even have the amount of a mustard seed of iman in his heart. That the reality is there's nothing in him at all. I mean, such people who will not have amanat, who will not have good qualities, but they are the ones who will be praised for these qualities, but in actual fact they do not have such type of qualities within them whatsoever. And then Sayyidina Huzaifa bin Yaman on his own accord he says that there was a time wherein I would do transactions and business with people in general, but now my condition is that I only interact and do transactions with so and so and so, meaning just a limited few people. He says the reason being is that previously, if I dealt with a Muslim and did a deal with a Muslim, then it would be his iman that would make him trustworthy, so that he would give what is due to me. And if it was a non-Muslim, then it would be a case of the hakim, the judge, the rule of the land there would be sufficient for him to fulfill the deal. But now he says that isn't the case. There is no amanat in people. So when there is no amanat in people, hence I limit my transactions with only so and so and so, I mean just limited people, because there is no amanat left within the people. This he mentioned that time there, a Sahabi Rasulullah Ta'ala. So just imagine what our times are. And it is for this reason that you find there are so many people who get all the scams that we have, fraud that takes place, scams that take place. All these scams are for this reason, because there is no amanat within people. There is no trustworthiness in people. Nobody is trustworthy at all. They sell the world to you, but the actual fact, there is nothing there to sell to you. They promise the world to you, but there is nothing they've got to give you. It is just nothing but a scam, fraud, that's all it is, because they're not trustworthy people. People who will show that they are trustworthy. People who will seem to us that, okay, they are righteous and pious, so because they are righteous and pious, they will be trustworthy. But then when it comes to actually dealing with them, no, the trustworthiness is not there whatsoever. This is from the signs of Qiyamah, and this is how we are as well today. So amanat, being trustworthy, is a great bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As another hadith, Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions that if a person has acquired 4 things and he loses out in acquiring dunya, then he should not be worried at all. He hasn't lost out at all. And if he loses dunya, or he doesn't gain anything in dunya but acquires these 4 things, then he has acquired everything. And in this Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions hifzu amanati, sidku hadithin. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions wa husnu khaliqatin wa iffatu ta'matin. 4 things Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions, that person who hifzu amanatin, that person who has been given what amanat, he protects amanat and trust upon him. So that such a person, even if he doesn't have anything of dunya, he hasn't achieved anything in this world, he has achieved everything. The other Nabi Kareem mentioned in sidku hadithin, that when he speaks, he always speaks the truth. That's why one of in the other hadith when Nabi Kareem mentions ayatul munafiq, from the signs of a munafiq is that tumina khan. When amanat is given to him, he does what? He deceives in it. He betrays the trust and betrays the amanat. When he speaks lies as well. So betraying the amanat is from the traits of the munafiqeen. And then Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned husnu khaliqatin, good character. And the father Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned iffatu ta'matin, that a person eats in moderation. These 4 things the Nabi Kareem mentioned, that whoever has been granted these 4 things, even if he hasn't gained anything with regards to dunya, that he has not made much in dunya, it doesn't matter at all. He has achieved what is most important, because if he has his amanat in sidku hadithin, then people will honor him because they know that this person is truthful and he is trustworthy as well. And husnu khaliqatin, his character is good as well. So what more when it comes to our interaction, dealing with people, if we have these qualities? And yes, where there is moderation in a person's level of eating, how they eat, what they eat, and that will lead to a person's good health as well. So this will bring health to a person, and this will also bring what? Honor to an individual. So amanat and the upholding of amanat is something that is very, very important. And when it comes to amanat as well, We think that amanat is just in one aspect of our lives, that a trust and an amanat is that somebody has something and they give it to us for us to look after. We think that is amanat alone. Somebody has money and they say, look, can you save it for me? If it's in my possession, I might just use it up somewhere. Or I may not be able to look after it, I do not have anywhere safe to put it. Nowadays people do not really give so much in the form of amanat, but in the past that was the case. Not everybody's homes, they didn't have banks and safes and vaults and that. So homes were not so secure as well and built as they are now. So people who had any items, they would give it to somebody else as amanat, as a trust to look after. As the Nabi Kareem Sadiqul Ameen. Ameen, why? Because people of the Makkah al-Mukarramah, they would give the amanat to Nabi Kareem to look after. Why? Because they knew that he would not betray them in it. So we think that amanat is just that one, that where somebody has given us something for us to look after. And betraying, that is that you use it for your own purpose, or you destroy it, you become neglectful of it, of looking after it or so. But that is just one aspect of amanat. Other than that, amanat is very vast, meaning, and as we just said now, all the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is amanat. Along with that, the life that Allah ta'ala has given us, this is also an amanat. The body Allah Ta'ala has given us, the intellect Allah Ta'ala has given us, the wealth Allah Ta'ala has given us, the youth Allah Ta'ala has given us. All of these are found the amanat, because these are things which Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has given to us. And that which Allah Ta'ala has given to us is an amanat in our possession, which means that it is our responsibility that we should look after it. It just shows how important it is that health as well, that a person should not destroy their health deliberately. Because this is a trust will be questioned with regard to it. It's a trust that Allah Ta'ala has given. Wealth as well Allah Ta'ala has given us is a trust. So where we spend it, how we spend it will be questioned with regard to this. So amanat itself is very vast. And along with it, time is also amanat. And because time is an amanat as well, how we spend our time, as well as how we spend our time in our workplaces, all of these things is an amanat. Because when we sign a contract at work, that is an amanat itself. And people forget that. And to not only that, but any application, even if you are a student somewhere and you sign the application form to study somewhere, what have you signed? You have signed that you agree to all the rules and regulations of that institute. Which means now that you need to fulfill those rules and regulations. Being punctual and being on time is part of that. Abiding all of the rules, that is part of that. Uniform, if that is included. So all of that is included in it. And when a person signs a contract at work as well, he is bound to that as well. That is what? To carry out the work that he's been designated. Fulfill the job description that he has. And fulfill the time as well, that he needs to be there on time. And during that period of time, he should be doing the work that he's getting paid for. And he does the hours for that purpose. And not that a person goes to work or spends the hours doing other things instead of what he's supposed to be doing. Again, that is also what that is betraying the amanat that is upon him. The things that are there at work as well. One is that some workplaces are flexible. That they give a lot of flexibility to their workers. That they are allowed time to do other things. They are allowed to use, for example, the internet for personal use. They are allowed to, or they have access to various stationery and other things that are there. That they are able, they are allowed to use it for their own purpose, that is fine. And where it's not the case of that, which means that belongs to who that belongs, it is not amanat that belongs to that office place, to the workplace. So it doesn't mean that now at home, the children say, oh Dad, we're out of paper clips. We don't have any pens left. We're out of this or out of that. We're out of paper, for example. Oh, then I'll get it from work. There's plenty there. The storeroom is full. The storeroom is full. So how many do you need? Or how much do you need? Which color do you need? What do you want? And in the case, I just need one. Okay, then I'll get 10. Why? Because they've got enough money. The company has enough money. The stock is enough full. The storeroom is full. So just take as many as you want from them. You have some photocopying to do, something needs to be done, just send it to my work email and I'll get it photocopied at work. And especially if it's something large in the past, something large documents, that's going to cost you going to the shop and paying the 2p or 5p, what I don't know how it is now, but 2p, 5p that it used to be. So easy, just go to work and get it printed there and a whole stack of papers, everything. So this is how we are. Again, it's a case of if you are allowed, then fine. If you are not allowed, then this is also something which a person should not be doing at all. And this is, in general, in life, this is how a person should be. This is how a person should be when he comes, because all of these things are part of amanah. Those things have been put in your trust. Fulfilling those and being honest in that is all part of amanat. As I mentioned, you can go on as well, we don't want to keep the discourse just on the talk of amanat. In the past we've given bayan on the topic of amanat itself. It's a topic on its own, the importance of amanat. And this is something that a person should develop within them to be trustworthy and understand what things are as an amanat upon him, and he should not betray the amanat. Further, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, لِيُعَذِّبَ اللَّهُ الْمُنَافِقِينَ وَالْمُنَافِقَاتِ وَالْمُشْرِكِينَ وَالْمُشْرِكَاتِ وَيَتُوبَ اللَّهُ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ. Allah Ta'ala says that when this amanat was presented to insan, and insan then accepted it, but then there were two groups amongst them. Those who did not carry out the responsibility, they are from the category of, which Allah Ta'ala mentions, the munafiqeen and the mushrikeen. And the other is mu'minin, mu'minat, that category who accepted this amanat and they carried it out. So Allah Ta'ala says the result of the above is that Allah Ta'ala may punish يُعَذِّبَ اللَّهُ الْمُنَافِقِينَ وَالْمُنَافِقَاتِ. The munafiqeen, men, and munafiqat, women. Meaning those munafiqeen, men and women who showed that they have iman, but in reality they didn't. And wal-mushrikeen wal-mushrikat, mushrikeen, men and women. And in this refers to all those who do not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning they are those who did not fulfill their trust. And when it comes to those who do, وَيَتُوبَ اللَّهُ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ, and forgive the mu'mineen men and the mu'mineen women. Because the believers, us as believers, from us are those who are not going to worry at all with regards to the amanat placed upon them. But there are those who are conscious with regard. And there are those who will try their utmost to carry out and fulfill and uphold this amanat. But insan is insan. خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا. Allah Ta'ala has created insan weak. So out of insan's weakness, a person may fall short in fulfilling that responsibility. So there Allah Ta'ala says, what? وَيَتُوبَ اللَّهُ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ. And Allah Ta'ala, and forgive the mu'minin, men and women, for their shortcomings and make it an effort to fulfill their justice. And this is how fortunate we are, because Allah Ta'ala is وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. Allah Ta'ala is most forgiving and most merciful. Meaning that those who don't turn towards it at all, those who do not carry it out, or do not try at all, totally reject, for them is the adhab of Allah Ta'ala. But a believer, be a believer. And from a believer, those who are trying, and those who did so. And after all, we are not anbiya, we are not ma'soom. And because we are not ma'soom, insan is insan. And as I mentioned, Allah himself has mentioned, خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا. Insan has been created weak. So because of insan's weakness, there's going to be shortcomings. And there's going to be many shortcomings. But alhamdulillah, we are fortunate that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our Allah is Ghafoor Rahim as well. But Ghafoor Rahim with who? Not those who didn't do anything at all. And that is something that a person needs to realize, because you have so many who don't do anything at all. No salah, zakat, so nothing at all. Allah is Ghafoor Rahim. But because Allah is Ghafoor Rahim, Allah Ta'ala will not be Ghafoor Rahim on those who don't do anything at all. Here Allah Ta'ala being Ghafoor Rahim is for those who tried and did, but then there were shortcomings. Those shortcomings will be overlooked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and not those who didn't pay any attention, pay any heed towards it at all. That is not the case. So وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. Yes, if Allah Ta'ala wants for some goodness, some reason, Allah Ta'ala forgives a person, it's a different matter. But the rule of the book is, for them Allah Ta'ala is not وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. Ghafoor Rahim of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is for those who are at least trying, as Allah says, وَيَتُوبَ اللَّهُ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ. Which again makes it bearable for insan, that when we understand that, look, this is a great responsibility Allah Ta'ala has given us, if we do not carry it out, then it means what? The punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Allah Ta'ala will not just hasten to punishing one. The punishment is for those who totally neglect in this. And those who do try, because the responsibility is not easy as well. Such a responsibility that the heavens and the earth and the mountains declined it. So shows that the responsibility is great, but the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with those who are trying. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Allah Ta'ala Himself guides them and helps them. And whatever shortcomings are there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not take a person to task for these shortcomings. And this is what وَكَانَ الْغَفُورَ الرَّحِيمَ means, that Allah Ta'ala will not take them to task. Allah Ta'ala make us also from those who are the true mu'mineen and mu'minat. And Allah Ta'ala grant us all the tawfiq to carry out this amanah that has been placed upon us. رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنْ. And on this we complete Surah Ahzaab. And Surah Ahzaab is the next surah which will commence with next week, inshallah. سبحان ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.